What if I told you that the power tool industry, a $41.7 billion machine, has been engineered from the ground up to confuse you into buying tools you will never use? Batteries that don't cross platforms, and kits packed with filler you didn't ask for. What if I told you that the people who actually know, the weekend warriors who've built decks, hung cabinets, renovated kitchens on Saturdays and Sundays for decades, figured out a long time ago that you only need 5 power tools to handle almost everything a home can throw at you? Not 15, not the 12-piece combo kit gathering dust in a plastic case. 5. And the tool manufacturers would rather you never figured that out, because a confused buyer buys more. The 12-piece kit, the duplicate batteries, the specialty gadgets that never leave the case. A huge chunk of what people spend ends up as tools that get used once, or never leave their box at all. Here's what most people miss. The right 5 tools bought in the right order on the right battery platform will cover 90% of the projects you'll ever take on. And one of the tools on this list, the one sitting at number 1, was originally developed as a medical device to cut plaster casts off patients without slicing their skin. It had nothing to do with home renovation, and yet the people who actually renovate houses now call it the single most versatile power tool they own. And number 2 on this list? It turns a 4-hour miserable chore into a 30-minute satisfying job for under $80. The testing backs both of those claims up, and we're going to prove every one of them. Hit that subscribe button because every week we post videos that cut through the marketing noise and tell you exactly which tools, techniques, and upgrades are actually worth your hard-earned money. Here are 5 power tools worth the money for the weekend DIYer, ranked from smart to absolutely essential. Number 5, the miter saw. The precision machine that turns trim work from agony into art. If you do any kind of baseboard, crown molding, door casing, or window trim, nothing else comes close. A miter saw was designed for one thing, precise angled cuts that meet perfectly at corners, and it does that one thing better than any other tool in your garage. You can make beveled cuts, compound angles, repetitive cross cuts all day long, and every single one lands exactly where you need it. The testing backs this up. Tech Gear Lab put the Skil 10-inch dual bevel sliding compound through its paces, and their tester said it chewed through a 2x4 like it was nothing, delivering cutting power and precision equal to saws at twice its price. That Skil runs around $150. Compare that to premium models pushing $400, and you start to see why the people who actually know recommend it to every weekend DIYer who asks. Now here's the honest trade-off. A miter saw sits in one place. You're not hauling it around the yard, and it won't cut large sheets of plywood. If you're on a tighter budget and you need something more portable, a jigsaw at $50 to $100 handles thinner wood, curved cuts, and a wider range of materials. But if you can swing it, the miter saw is a tool you'll use more than any other cutting tool in your shop. Here's how to actually use it. For trim work, set your angles, lock them in, and batch cut all your pieces at once. That alone saves you hours on a weekend project. This tool gets overlooked because people assume they need a circular saw first, and sometimes they do. But if your projects lean toward finished carpentry, the miter saw earns its spot from day one. And speaking of the circular saw, it's probably already on your radar, which is exactly why it's next. Number 4, the circular saw. The one saw that goes everywhere and cuts everything. Here's the simplest rule anyone ever wrote about saws. If you carry the tool more than the board, buy the circular saw first. If you carry the board more than the tool, buy the miter saw first. For most weekend DIYers, you're carrying the tool. You're out on the deck, you're in the yard, you're breaking down plywood in the driveway. The circular saw weighs less, takes up less space, costs less, and handles more cut types than almost anything else you can buy. The Skil 528001 has been the favorite of multiple testing outlets, and for good reason. A 15-amp motor, a 7¼ inch blade, a blade guard for safety, and a single-beam laser guide that keeps every cut straight, a feature that usually shows up only in higher-priced models. That entire package runs $60 to $120. Every pro who's done this knows it. For the weekend DIYer, the circular saw is the tool you grab when you need to rip plywood for a shelf build, cross-cut framing lumber for a shed, or break down sheet goods that would never fit on a miter saw table. And unlike a table saw, which is stationary, expensive, and requires dedicated shop space, the circular saw follows you to the job. Here's how to actually use it. Clamp a straight edge to your workpiece as a guide fence and you'll get cuts clean enough for furniture. That one trick closes the gap between a circular saw and a table saw for most home projects. This tool gets overlooked because people get seduced by the precision of a miter saw or the power of a table saw. But neither of those tools will follow you around a job site in one hand. The circular saw does. And it probably costs less than the fancy blade you'd put in those other saws. Now there's a tool that costs even less and transforms your finish quality overnight. If you're starting to see the pattern, if you're realizing that the 5 most valuable tools in your garage aren't the most expensive ones, they're the most versatile ones, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps this reach people who are building real skills on real weekends with real budgets. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the channel that respects your time and your wallet. Number 3, the Random Orbital Sander. A random orbital sander does the work in a fraction of the time and delivers a finish that looks genuinely professional. Rarely is there a home improvement project that doesn't require some sanding. And sanding by hand is agonizingly slow, exhausting, and the results look sloppy. A random orbital sander does the work in a fraction of the time and delivers a finish that looks genuinely professional. For under $80. The Bosch ROS20 VSC was the standout in head-to-head testing for 3 reasons that matter to you. At 84 decibels, it's the quietest by a large margin, and it wasn't even close. It's also the smoothest, which makes a massive difference during a long sanding session when cheaper sanders leave your hand buzzing for hours after you put them down. And it has the best dust collection of the group. The numbers don't lie. But here's the real secret the pros know. If your sander has a round dust port, hook it up to your shop vac. It removes 90% of the dust instantly. That's the difference between a project that looks like a sandstorm hit your garage and one that stays clean from start to finish. If you only need a sander for small projects or occasional use, the Skil SR211601 comes in under $40 with variable speed and more power than other budget models. With tariffs pushing prices up across the board, a capable sander still under $40 is a flat-out steal. Here's how to actually use it. Start with 80 grit, move to 120, finish with 220. 3 passes, that's it. And always wear your PPE, eye protection, and a dust mask, because even with great dust collection, fine particles get airborne. This gets overlooked because sanding isn't glamorous. Nobody posts sanding videos for fun. But every beautiful finish you've ever admired started with somebody who owned a decent sander. And the next tool on this list makes everything else in your toolkit work harder. Number 2, the cordless drill and impact driver combo kit. The foundation that every other tool in your garage leans on. On almost every project, you drill a hole with one tool and drive a screw with the other. If you're switching bits constantly on a single tool, you're wasting time on every single task. The combo kit solves this permanently. A drill driver and an impact driver sharing the same battery platform, usually bundled with 2 batteries and a charger, for $150 to $250. That's the single best value in power tools for anyone who works with fasteners regularly. The testing backs this up. Matt Chimenti, who leads testing at Consumer Reports, put it plainly. For any job involving driving more than a few screws, you really can't beat the power and speed of an impact driver. The key difference is that an impact driver generates torque internally through impacts, not through your wrist. That means it drives screws with dramatically more power, while transmitting almost zero kickback to your hand. The chuck on a standard drill locks bits in mechanically, but the impact driver's collie-style chuck, combined with that internal torque mechanism, is what gives you that extra driving force without the wrist strain. The Ridgid R86116 stands out for one reason that nobody else matches: a lifetime warranty that includes free battery replacements. That's absurd value. If you're starting fresh on a battery platform, the Ryobi 18-volt 1+ system has over 300 tools in its ecosystem. From hedge trimmers to vacuums, all running on the same battery. Whether you're building on DeWalt, Milwaukee, Makita, or Ryobi, the rule is the same. Pick one platform and stay on it. Mixing platforms means buying duplicate batteries, and that's exactly the trap the manufacturers want you to fall into. And one thing is non-negotiable in this category. Look for the word brushless on the box. If it's not brushless, don't buy it. Brushless motors deliver 3 to 5 times longer lifespan, 25 to 50% more runtime per charge, and less heat. Here's how to actually use it. Keep the drill loaded with a bit for pilot holes and the impact driver loaded with a driving bit. 2 tools, 0-bit changes, twice the speed. That setup alone changes how you work in the garage, in the yard, and on every framing project you take on. This combo gets overlooked because people think one drill does it all. It doesn't. And the tool at number 1? It does more different jobs than anything else on this entire list. Number 1, the oscillating multi-tool, the secret weapon that renovators refuse to give back. This is the tool that people buy out of curiosity and then use on every single project for the rest of their lives. An oscillating multi-tool cuts, sands, grinds, and scrapes. It undercuts door casings for new flooring. It removes grout between tiles. It sands in corners no other sander can reach. It makes plunge cuts for plumbing and electrical without tearing out the whole wall. It is the Swiss Army knife of power tools, and the people who actually renovate houses call it the single most versatile power tool they own. Here's what most people miss. This technology was originally developed in the 1960s by the German company Fein, spelled F-E-I-N, not for construction but for medicine. They built it to cut plaster casts off patients without cutting skin. It wasn't until Fein's patent expired about 20 years ago that other manufacturers could enter the market. Now every major brand makes one, and the best of them has been saving weekend renovators hours of frustration for 2 decades. The DeWalt 20-volt Max XR Oscillating Toolkit, the DCS356C1, stands out as the best for most users, after head-to-head testing of 10 models, offering the strongest balance of performance, value, and included accessories right out of the box. For heavy renovation, the Milwaukee M18 Fuel at $187.99 tops the rankings, with a 3.5-degree oscillation angle that cuts 15 to 20% faster than the standard on competing models. That speed advantage compounds across a full day of demolition. Every pro who's run this tool on a gut renovation knows it. And if you ever find yourself doing demo work where a reciprocating saw is too aggressive and a circular saw won't fit, this is the tool you'll reach for. Here's how to actually use it. Before you install new flooring, run it along every door casing in the room to undercut the trim. The flooring slides right under. That one trick alone justifies the purchase. This tool gets overlooked because people don't know what it does until they need it. And by then they've already spent 3 hours on a job that should have taken 30 minutes. It's probably not in your garage yet, but once it is, you'll wonder how you ever renovated without it. If you made it all the way to the end, you've just learned something most people never will. 5 tools bought smart on one battery platform, and you're equipped to handle 90% of the projects your home will ever demand. Smash that like button if this changed how you think about building your toolkit. Drop a comment and tell me which one surprised you most. Team Oscillating Multi-Tool, Team Random Orbital Sander, Team Drill and Impact Driver Combo Kit? I read every comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. I'd love to have you on this journey with us. Remember, sometimes the best toolkit isn't the biggest one on the shelf or the flashiest kit in the catalog. Sometimes it's 5 tools, chosen by the people who actually build things on weekends, waiting for you to pick them up and get to work.